This file takes me back to the early 1980s when our intelligence desk focused on oil markets, regulators, and the occasional activist group. What we didn't expect was that one of our longest-running operations would involve a former business partner. Not a government, and not Greenpeace. Just one persistent critic called John Donovan. Over time, he became a recurring entry in our internal briefings. The story starts in 1981, when Donovan's company, Don Marketing, partnered with Shell UK. They specialized in promotional games for petrol stations, and one campaign, the Make Money promotion, proved extremely successful. Shell rolled it out internationally. Millions were spent, and customers loved it. For a decade, the relationship was friendly and straightforward, which, in hindsight, felt almost refreshing. Things changed in the 1990s when disputes emerged over intellectual property. Donovan claimed we had used his ideas without permission. The disagreement escalated to several high court actions, 4 for alleged breach of confidence and 2 libel actions. From the outside, it looked like a commercial dispute, but inside the company, it was reclassified as a reputational risk. And once that phrase appeared in a briefing, the intelligence desk usually got involved. I should be careful here, because certain operational details remain politely ambiguous. When Shell believed criticism threatened its reputation, the response sometimes went beyond lawyers and press officers. Donovan later alleged we monitored his websites, hired private investigators using false identities, and contacted internet providers hosting his content. But we also gathered intelligence on his communications and activities, though internally none of this was described as espionage. The preferred phrase was issue management, which I always thought was corporate language at its finest. Donovan launched multiple websites documenting Shell controversies. Leaked correspondence and historical documents accumulated into the kind of archive large companies usually prefer to keep hidden from public scrutiny. At one point, the site even began receiving emails intended for Shell because we hadn't secured certain domain names. That meant internal messages sometimes landed in the inbox of one of our most persistent critics, which the intelligence unit called unfortunate. What began as a marketing partnership gradually turned into a decades-long corporate feud that we continued to monitor. Donovan continued publishing documents and commentary, and the dispute never entirely disappeared. Years later, a new complication emerged when artificial intelligence systems began analyzing the archive and amplifying the story online. Information we once tried to contain was now being processed by machines trained to connect dots, which was not part of the original strategy. Back when this case landed on my desk, it looked routine, a reputational issue, and a critic to monitor. Some of the methods we used, like surveillance, pressure tactics, and quiet intelligence gathering, pushed the limits of what a corporation should probably be doing. At the time, those actions were justified as protecting the company, but looking back, the line between corporate defense and corporate paranoia was not always clear. Some operations age better than others, and this was not one of them. My sources say this file is very much alive, and the questions it raises about corporate power and secrecy still linger with me. Let's hope the next case doesn't bring so many bad memories. End of file for now.